I'm Hannah Snyder, and I want to talk with you about my dad, Craig, as he runs to become Pennsylvania's next senator. This especially American story because America is the land where the ordinary often flowers into something extraordinary. Starts with Jack and Annie and Meyer and Eva. 3 of the 4 of them Eastern European Jewish immigrants, the 2 women homemakers, the 2 men factory workers, 1 a veteran of the First World War. Craig's grandparents gave birth to Bernie and Sonny, brought them into what would become the greatest generation, facing both the Depression and the onset of World War II before they found each other to begin their 68-year marriage, from 1946 until they passed away 1 month apart in 2014. In the post-war boom, my grandparents built their lives as the fields of Northeast Philadelphia turned into homes for the families of the former GIs. They added 2 boomers of their own, Rob and Susan, more than a decade before late boomer Craig came along. Bernie never went beyond the 10th grade, but he rose to become the highest-ranking career civilian in the supply chain for the U.S. Marine Corps and retired to the Marines' highest civil servants award. Meanwhile, typical of her generation, Sonny set aside earlier plans to be a journalist, raising the kids, and when Craig reached school age, helping him find a lifelong love of learning and mastery of the English language. When did my dad start preparing to become your best voice in the United States Senate? Well, when from birth his big sister Sue showed her baby brother what life is for, unconditional love. And then, at age 7, when big brother Rob volunteered for service and went to Vietnam, the little brother needed to understand how such things as wars happen and who decides whose brothers go away. By the time he left elementary school, Craig was being called a wunderkind, going from grade school valedictorian to the same in high school. At 16, he won the fantastic sum of $1,000 for an essay on how to racially integrate and improve Philly public schools, and then, at 17, garnered national attention, along with several friends, for standing up for free speech rights in high schools. At 18, he became the 2nd student in the history of George Washington High to be accepted to Yale University. Following romance with my mom back to Philadelphia, Craig ultimately graduated from the University of Pennsylvania. Graduated with highest honors in the philosophy of ethics, politics, and economics. Working himself through Temple Law School as a night student, at 26, Craig published a book, still used today as a reference, on the nuclear arms race between the US and Soviet Russia. Then, after being picked up by one of our best law firms, at 29, Craig ran for the PA State House. In an ultra-rare endorsement of a Republican, the Philadelphia Inquirer said of my dad, "He's very good at talking about the concerns of city dwellers. Indeed, he may be the most articulate candidate for any office that we've seen this fall. You can't call him a liberal or a conservative because he's a lot of both." Craig's respected efforts as a youthful candidate led to Washington, D.C., and service as Chief of Staff to Arlen Specter, Pennsylvania's longest-serving U.S. Senator. Craig held a top-secret security clearance and helped advise the senator while he chaired the Senate Intelligence Committee. They traveled together both to every county in Pennsylvania and around the world, with the senator remaining a friend and mentor to Craig until he passed away in 2010. When he left government service to become an entrepreneur, creating a highly successful political consulting firm, Craig continued making a mark on public policies affecting the lives of millions. Too many to list, but including serving as the leading advocate in the country on behalf of children and families facing autism, protecting American troops on the battlefield from the catastrophe of friendly fire, reforming court funding, and reining in greedy trial lawyers in Florida, building light rail in Colorado, and supporting candidates he believed in, like John McCain's run for the White House. My dad helped bring federal support to nonprofit institutions and dynamic young companies all across Pennsylvania, from the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, the Franklin Institute, the Please Touch Museum, to Muhlenberg College in Allentown, the Pittsburgh Zoo, Seton Hill University in Greensburg, East Stroudsburg University, and Penn State main campus. Along the way, Craig also contributed to the NBC TV series The West Wing, when the show dramatized the effort my dad led to create the first federal response to the rising prevalence of autism. Recently, Craig wrapped up a shining stint as president of the World Affairs Council of Philadelphia, one of the nation's leading nonpartisan educational institutions, taking the 70-plus-year-old organization to new heights by creating a public broadcasting television series hosted by the grandson and namesake of President Eisenhower. Against the backdrop of all this professional success, my dad has also known and grown most from a personal life of great joy and great struggle. He suffered the unspeakable loss of 3 children, Rebecca, Jonathan, and Lincoln Snyder, to a very rare and still mysterious genetic lung disorder, but has centered his life on being dad to his 2 surviving daughters, me and my little sister Shirley, a student at Philadelphia's Central High School, who dad has raised as a single parent for the last 10 years. My dad has always taught me and my sister that happiness isn't something a person finds, but a choice we make in our own life. When we give our life the purpose of doing what we can for those we love and for the wider world. For decades now, and today, Craig Snyder travels the world, learning and engaging with leaders in every field of achievement. He's walked with presidents and prime ministers, cabinet secretaries and Nobel Prize winners, movie stars and scientists. I won't agree with my dad on everything as a senator, but that shouldn't be anyone's standard. No one who has ever run for Senate from Pennsylvania has been better prepared to serve than my dad, and none has ever had more vision. Please give him your support.